Frankie works hard. Well, good evening. It's Lisa, Scott, Aaron, Adam, and Adam. And I just want to thank everybody who's jumping on. Go ahead and just let us all know that you're here. Oh boy, we got all kinds of people coming on now. And good evening, gentlemen.
Kelly.
Good evening.
How we doing?
Scott,
how we doing?
why are you calling your wife?
Hey, Lisa.
Are you wanting her to testify for you or something? That you're a good guy?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys
I can hear you.
Comment, share this out. I got lots of fun questions to ask these guys. I've got this going out on several different platforms, and if you're coming in on big sellers, I can't see your name. You've got to go back, y'all, where I posted it and click to give StreamYard permission to show your name. I don't know why, but I don't make the rules, but that's the way it is. But we got Vanjie and Demetrius and Anthony, and I think Anthony's in my country, and Miss Liza Borges, of course. Who else is on here? And then this one says Facebook user, so I don't know who you are. But anyways, hi gentlemen, how are you?
Hello, Lisa.
Okay, so for the 3 people on planet Earth that don't know you guys, I'm going to start with Scott Simons, and I'm going to go around the room, and I'm going to just have you guys tell everybody who you are and what you do. Scott, I'm going to start with you, my friend.
Yes, so my name is Scott Simons. I'm a friend of Lisa Copeland's, and I think that's all I really need to say. No, I am an alcoholic. I'm known for being in the auto industry. I work for Carter Myers Automotive Group. I'm a partner of Liza Borges, which is one of the best humans, on the planet. I'm a partner in 6 dealerships. I run day-to-day 5 as managing partner. Auto industry is really good, even with all the adversity going on in this world. I think Adam will tell you, and everybody on here that is in the auto industry will tell you that auto industry is really, really good. And we just control the controllables, show up every single day, and use caution to take care of our customers, our community, and our employees. And we're just really fortunate. We have not had very many people sick in our community. And, we're very fortunate, very blessed. I'm married to my wife, Kelly. Her birthday is tomorrow. I won't say her age. I'm 47. I met my wife when I was 17 and she was 15. So that would give you a little bit of an idea. But
Kelly just grabbed you out, sister.
Yeah, well, I think some of my friends probably can't count that high. But anyway, that's
probably some of the guys on this here. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. I see Adam Marburger sitting there, trying to compute it with his fingers. Not that many fingers and toes. But anyway.
The way Marburger counts, he's like, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So I knew I was safe with Adam on here. But anyway, I have 2 children. I have Morgan, my daughter, that is 16. I have a son that's Dawson, that's 13. And I'm just really honored to be asked to be on the show with some really awesome human beings.
Well, and I'm going to tell y'all after you guys introduce yourselves why you were chosen and the whole thing behind the good guys, because I had a reason behind everybody I asked to be on the show, but we're not there yet. Aaron Sheeks. Good evening, my friend.
Good evening, my friend. Aaron Sheeks. I am I'm a Northwest Chicago currently, married, 4 daughters. I live the hashtag girl dad life. 6, 3, and 5 month identical twin girls today, actually. So big day. We did my wife Tammy is getting she does the pictures and the whole deal. So they're adorable. I'm sure you'll see those in the next couple days.
Oh, they're like perfect. Like they need to be in the movies.
They look just like mom. I don't take credit for any of that.
I agree with that.
Whatsoever. Yeah. I am fortunate enough to currently serve as the president of the Auto Miner, and I've got great partners in the auto space. And I'll agree with Scott that the auto space is unlike any other out there, and that the business is good, the people are better, and I'm just grateful and lucky to be associated with folks that are on and watching this evening.
Perfect, Adam Marburger.
Yeah, so obviously I'm also friends with Lisa Copeland, who's kind of a big deal, right? So I have 3 beautiful daughters. I've got Anna Lee, who will be 10 in a few weeks. I have a 10-year-old almost, which is wild. I've got Arabelle, who's 8, and Aston, who turns 2 on Sunday, which I can't wait for that. So I live my life in 3 buckets. I am in the automotive space, which predominantly that's my focus right now with Ascent Dealer Services. and I live in the real estate world and passionate about the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world. I try to help people defend themselves, build confidence, and go out in the world and take what's theirs.
Love that. I love that. And last but not least, probably the most hated car dealer in America right now by his peers, because he awards his general managers things like
Kelly.
New Bentleys.
It's not new.
Where's my phone?
Oh, well, you just ruined it for me then. Forget about it. I wouldn't want it. If somebody else has farted in the seats, I'm out. Adam Aarons.
So I am I'm old, as it turns out, because I'm about to be a grandfather, which nobody else here can say that, even though Lisa is a grandparent.
Yes, I am a Lala.
Yes,
grandparent.
And so I've been doing this for a long time, I guess. We believe our businesses are run with maybe a greater principle than trying to make money.
Okay, so turn off your phone.
That wasn't me.
It was you last night, so I already automatically went to you.
So I own 3 car dealerships, building a 4th, have a little bit of other businesses. I have been married for 35 years. I have a son who's about to be 33, who's going to make me a grandfather, and with his wife in the next week. And I have a daughter who's 28, and I have had the most blessed life I think anybody ever could. And all of the good things that have happened and all of the bad things that have happened have been dealt with, I think, the right way, which is try to figure out what the positive thing is, what you can learn from that, and then pass it on to other people. So our mission is to help other people reach what their goals are. And as I posted today around that Bentley, is once you figure out what they want, just give it to them and they'll get you everything you've ever wanted.
Scott, right? Everybody is about to resign from your dealerships and move. Just give them what they want, whatever it may be.
Well, within reason, right? I mean, they people have to deserve it. But if, I mean, we have people that are highly competitive. We don't have people that are highly selfish, right? So you have to build a culture that feeds off of the good part of people and eliminates the bad part, so that their bad parts kind of go away, right? So, you know, if somebody says, if you have 10 mechanics in the shop today and one guy turns 25 hours and the other ones turn 7 or 8, the people who turn 7 or 8 thinks that the guy that got the 25 or the girl that did the 25 hours was given all the easy work. And nothing could be further from the truth. The person that gets the 25 hours in a day actually does all the hardest work, but it doesn't focus on what's going on in anybody else's bay. Focuses on fixing the car and giving the customer a great experience, the dealership a great experience. And we all do well when that person is there. And we've kind of figured out that our desks are real estate, our bays are real estate, our service advisors have real estate connected to them. And we try to continually compete with ourselves to do better than we did before. And it took me 199 months to get to #1. That's 18 years and 7 months. But we're not going to go backwards.
I love that. So now I'm going to tell everybody why I chose these guys. Now, we had a couple of guys also that were invited, and I chose them too. But I'll tell you about them because they're not able to be here tonight. Scott Simons, number one, you're my dear friend and I adore you. But I love how you have got a partner who's a woman and she's the boss. And so these are all men, and I'm going to tell you each why, that are supportive of women, work with women, raise women. And so Scott Simons, it's because you are amazing, and you've got an amazing woman partner, and she's the boss, Miss Liza. In fact, I wrote about Liza in my last book, Car Buying Her Way. Aaron Sheeks, you know, you're just one of my favorite humans on planet Earth, but you are a girl dad, and you've got 4 little girls, and you made a huge pivot in life. So that, and, you know, you had a big job, big career. You know, I actually know how much money you were making because we're that good of friends. And you made the decision to make a pivot for a lot of opportunities. But you told me the #1 reason you made that pivot was because you wanted to stay home and raise your daughters, that you did not want to be on the road, and you didn't want your wife having to do it on her own.
100%.
Yep. Adam Marburger, you know I adore you. You're also a girl dad. And I love all your posts every single day about, you know, your first love, your second love, or your middle love, and your youngest love, which are your 3 daughters. And then Adam Aarons, I don't know, I just want a Bentley. No, seriously. You're about to be a grandfather of a granddaughter. And just like with Scott and Liza, you know, the way I met you back in 2012 was at the Best Workplace Awards for Automotive News. And, you know, you are somebody who holds your employees in very high esteem. And, but most importantly, you know, you have served on the board of Women in Automotive. You show up for the women. You've, you know, you are so about diversity and inclusion. And so, like, kind of in the world we live in today, and as I was just thinking about what's going on in the world and don't want to turn on the news, it just seems like, you know, a lot of people get a bad rap, and a lot of guys like you do. And so I thought, why don't we talk to the nice guys? Why don't we talk about the guys that support women, that partner with women, that promote women, that include women, and that are raising women? So that was the premise of the show. What do you think? I actually had some brain power into this show.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And so anyways, okay, so I want to see if we've got any questions out there. Melissa Burrow, Adam Aarons is a huge advocate for women in the automotive industry, a diversity champion. He is. And it's not that all of you guys aren't, but Adam's been very, very vocal about it ever since I met him back in 2012. Demetrius says, Liza is an amazing person and boss. See, it's all about the girls, but about the guys. So, okay, so one of the things I want to ask, especially you girl dads, and you have a daughter, you have one daughter, don't you, Scott?
I do. I have one daughter.
Yeah, you have one daughter. And she just graduated from high school?
No, she'll be a senior this year.
She'll be a senior. Okay. Yeah. I knew I saw something about that. So I want to talk about what do you see your role? How important is it for dads to be a great role model for their daughters, especially in a time like I cannot imagine raising kids right now. I won't lie. Between what's going on in the world, having to explain it to them, having to teach them, having to keep them from being afraid, protecting them, worried that they're never going to go back to school and that the highest grade they're ever going to get from a accredited teacher is 3rd grade. How are you dealing with that? So Scott, I'm going to start with you.
Well, first of all, our daughter Morgan is just a wonderful, wonderful young lady. She's very competitive. She works hard. I'll tell you a story about my daughter. So my daughter works as a waitress for a retirement home. And I asked my daughter if she wanted to come work at the dealership. And she said, Daddy, you know, I'd rather not. And I said, oh, okay. You know, she'd answer the phones there and ran credit cards when she was like 13 or 14. I had her in a few of the advertisements. But anyway, she said, no, Daddy, I'd rather go find my own job. So first, to be honest, my feelings were a little bit hurt because I was hoping she would like the auto industry, but I didn't. I didn't try to change her mind. I said, honey, your dad's proud of you. That's awesome. So she went because her and a lot of her little friends, you know, 15, 16 years old, can go work in a nursing home and they serve the people in the nursing home. So obviously what happens? COVID happens. Well, where is COVID at most of the time? It's, you know, in this area, the spots that we do have, it's in nursing homes. Mm-hmm. So an article came out in the online and said, yeah, local newspaper said, hey, there's COVID cases in this nursing home where my daughter's working. So I didn't panic. You know, we got home and my wife and daughter and I sat down. I said, honey, I said, you know, they've got cases in where you're working. You know, what would you like to do? You know, your mom and I are probably leaning towards you should probably not go back, you know. And my daughter said, Daddy, I'll use all the precautions, but I want to go to work. So my daughter doesn't have to work. We want my daughter to work. We want my son to work. My son is 13 and he goes and works for this gentleman who owns real estate and picks weeds up. And that's because that's what my dad taught me. I mean, my dad worked 5 jobs in the summer. So that's where I got my work ethic from, is my parents. So I'm passing that down to my children. But a proud dad moment for me, which may be controversial to some, is my daughter chose to go to work and we fully supported her in that decision to go to work. When some people may have felt that was careless, I was super proud. So.
You should be. I mean, she wanted to, I mean, she didn't go to work because she wanted the paycheck. I'm sure she loved those people. She was working with those nice people in the nursing home, and they needed her. So, I mean, just imagine as scared as they are, and they can't see their families and they're quarantined, but your daughter can go in and, you know, kind of fill in, or, you know, step in the gap there or fill the gap. And so that's a good story. And I love that about you, because I know that you're not afraid. And, you know, again, we're living in a world that, I mean, if you turn on the news or you know, you could just live in fear. It could paralyze you. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and Lisa, I want to say in our area, not to interrupt you, but in our county, we have 76,000 people in our county. In the county that the dealerships are located in, I live in Rockingham County. There's about 100,000 people in Rockingham, and we've had 2 deaths in Augusta County. In Harrisonburg, they've had more. So in our area, we've been very blessed and fortunate that we have not had the cases that maybe you have or Adam has, or, you know, any of the people that are on here. So for here, it hasn't been the case. Now, if I was where you're at, or if I was where, you know, where it was, you know, where cases are spiraling out of control, you know, I would obviously have a different opinion, but I also don't judge people. I feel like that we all live in this country because we can make decisions, and we make decisions hopefully from the best interest, not only us, but everybody in our community. And I don't get upset if I see someone living their life how they want to live it. I have a very open mind when it comes to that. Now, social irresponsibility is one thing, exactly. But but
somebody has to work there, Scott. Somebody's got to take care of those people.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I think
we've learned,
it's admirable.
And we've learned a lot. One thing that sticks out to me, and I'll share this. I feel like that in some areas, not in our car dealerships and not people, but in some areas when I deal with people outside of my circle, that they became very passive during this. They became very passive. They became very, they've regressed. And that's what happens in times like this. That's why you should stay a creature of habit and stay within your habits, getting up and working out, stay within your routines. Because if there's ever opportunity for you to become regress and become passive, now's a perfect excuse time to do that.
Well, you know, Sharon Lechter, I know all of you know her. She was the co-founder of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad empire. But, you know, she wrote the book for Napoleon Hill. She brought it out of the vault, and it's called Outwitting the Devil. And one of the things that Hill and the devil talk about in this crazy manuscript that was in the vault for 70 years is he talks about hypnotic rhythm. And that's, and you know, depending on what hypnotic rhythm you get into, that's when you start to, you know, go off path. And so you've got to keep that rhythm going, because it's whatever rhythm you get into is whether you'll succeed or you'll fail. So I love that, Scott, because every morning I see you're up there, you're working out. You've got like Josh O. Where is Josh O? Is he on here today?
He probably will be.
Yes. Yeah. He's probably closing down a car dealership right now.
Yeah,
closing out a month. Exactly. Yeah. And so anyways, no, that's good. And so I got a question for you when we come back. Aaron, talk to us about raising 4 daughters in a pandemic, and they can't go to school, and they're born in it. And, you know.
Yeah, I think the first thing that I know 100% is the truth is that I have no idea what I'm doing. And I just come into every single day knowing that I'm learning as we go here, that there are 4 little girls that just look up to what me and mom are doing, and we try to set the best examples. And I do more learning every day from them than I think I do teaching. That's for sure. My philosophy to raising daughters, it's different, because as a guy, I never saw myself raising daughters. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have boys, and we're gonna play golf, and then we're gonna go to the ball field and throw people around, and that's what we're gonna do.
I mean,
and that's not how.
You're a guy's guy, and you got 4
flying planes, riding Harleys. Yeah, I was a guy's guy, and then here comes, you know, all these beautiful little girls in my life, and I genuinely have no idea what I'm doing. As they get older, I just keep figuring it out and try to repeat the process. But my whole goal and my whole kind of, I guess, value system that I want to instill in them, work ethic is huge for me. I think Scott touched on that one. But for me, it's that they're limitless, and that I can bring them up into a world with a viewpoint that if they want to go do something, no one can stop them. Not a social class, not a job, not anything. If they want it bad enough, they'll find a way to get it. And raising girls in today's world is terrifying for lots of different reasons. And I'm definitely not ready to deal with teenagers and the social part with phones and how hard that is in the world today. I think I'll figure it out as I get there. But if I can just keep letting them know that like chasing your dreams is real, you can change your life and those around you and continue to help people, then man, I did my job, and I'll figure out the details between here and there.
And, you know, I met you, you know, I think we talked about a while back, with like 6 weeks or 6 months or something after you got out of the military, but you served in our military for many years, and, you know, you worked your way through college there, and like, you know, nothing was ever handed to you, which is what I've always liked about you from the time I met you. You know, you've worked really hard. You've served your country. You know, you've done all of that to get to where you're at. And so how do you see that changing? Because you do okay now. And
I'm just getting warmed up though, Lisa, to be fair. I'm just hitting my stride. So I haven't wrote a book yet.
I think that he's even younger than Marburger. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Adam and I, we haven't officially connected outside of the Facebook world here yet, but we're excited to kind of get on the same plane, because I think we see things in a similar light. So it's a pleasure to join. Yeah, absolutely. Smiling faces tonight, definitely.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you know, kind of what you just said. I agree with you. Well, first of all, I wanted a boy. You know, I wanted a boy.
Of course you did.
I wanted a little girl, kickboxer, and then I got a girl, and then I got another girl, and then I got another girl. Right, so I got 3 girls.
You don't know what caused that?
Tell me. I've heard. But so with that being said, like right now, you know, there's no owner's manual. You can't get on YouTube and figure it out. I learn to become a better father every single day. It's in the world we're in now. It's tough. It's you can put your blinders on, and Scott, to what you just said a second ago, you can get out of rhythm real quick and regress. I was a victim of that. There were a couple of weeks where I got off my rhythm and my life wasn't in the right direction. My business was suffering. My fatherhood was suffering. My connections and relationships were suffering, and I got on track quickly. But I noticed that if you stop the habits, you can totally go backwards. The world it's just not the same. And I'm scared. I mean, I'm a positive dude. Like, I'm always positive. People are like, why are you always in a good mood? I'm just happy to be alive. But it's scary. I'm scared. I'm scared as a father. I don't know what the world looks like in 5 years. I know my kids are, you know, they're a little scared. I live in Illinois. Things were really locked down, and, you know, they're starting to open back up. You know, the girls got to go to the zoo the day before yesterday, mask on, sweating, and it's just different. Things are different. So there's going to be a lot of adjustment. There's a lot of uncertainty, but the thing that I want to instill in my children is, I want them to be secure with themselves. I want them to be confident. I want them to, you know, we all say follow your dreams. I think we all want our kids to follow that, but I want to pour into them and know that I've got their back always. I'm their daddy. There's never going to be any lack of love or support. And one thing that having daughters has done is just humbled me. It's like it's paralyzed me in a sense to make myself want to protect them forever and ever. So I'll tell you, having daughters is the biggest blessing. I'm grateful. I'm humbled. And, you know, to look forward to, you know, watching their growth. But in the world that we're in now, there's a lot of scare. You know, I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little scared, you know? So that's where I'm at.
And I'll tell you, before I get to Adam Aarons, you said something that just brought some stuff back at me. So I've got our daughter was older, and then we've got a son. So I've had both. And she has told us over the years, and she even told us back then, you know, JT has a different set of rules than I do. How come he got to do this or gets to do this, and he was 2 years younger, and I don't get to? And it was always because we have to protect you. JT will go protect himself. He'll go get in trouble probably. It's JT, but the rules are different for a daughter, and she didn't like that a lot of times. And I look back on it now, and I think, was that the right thing to do? And I think we struggle with that, you know, just even as parents, because I didn't, maybe, and I don't know if it's because he was my second one. It was like, oh God, she survived, so will he, or that she's a girl and he's a boy. Scott, and then Adam Aarons, I'm going to get to you because you always have so much to say. But Scott, because you're the only one with a boy and a girl, do you feel like that? Are the rules different for your girl than your boy at the same age when they were the same age?
Yes, for sure. I mean, it's most definitely.
We'll get there, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my daughter's older. I think you know, is older than my son. Obviously, she's Barry turned 17. He's 13. Our son, and then Barry got a 14. But no, we absolutely, as dads, pay closer attention and have more of a concern for our daughters.
She hated it. I don't know about your daughter, but my daughter, like, it would make her mad. Like, she felt this complete injustice about it because she really was much more responsible than he was. Right. So it wasn't from a responsibility standpoint because she was born responsible. She was born to lead, all of that. But you know, it's just different. Right. Yeah,
for sure. For sure. Adam, you have both.
I know, and I missed that. I just see him shaking his head because I know he's got a lot to say. So Adam, Aaron's.
Let me just take you back just a little bit further than that. So I was, you know, people ask me, you know, how do you have this affinity for people, et cetera? And well, I was raised by one amazing parent and one shitty parent. So my dad was not a good father. And my folks got divorced and my mom proceeded to raise me. But now we're going back into the 60s where you had a woman with 4 children and had never had an adult job other than, you know, working in a nightclub, basically, when she was young. So now she's in her, I don't know, at that point, somewhere in her 40s and had to raise a family. And I saw somebody go to work and do whatever she could to make it work, which meant maybe working 2 jobs and things like that. Right. And I was also, and so one of my brothers was already in the military and kind of gone by then. He's a lot older than me. We're very close. But I was also raised in the bedroom with a brother who was a little older than me, who was gay, and I had a younger sister, and so there was all kinds of diversity for one little family there.
Yeah.
And something about the way that I was raised didn't teach me to look at where somebody's at. It taught me to look at why they're there. And so I've had an affinity for things to learn through both religion and economics to try to figure out the consequences of your decisions and how somebody gets there. So the question becomes, you know, when I got up and spoke in front of women in automotive, I said, you know, there's not one of us, the 4 guys, who've looked ourselves in the mirror in the morning and said, are we dressed too sexy or not sexy enough? And I know you've heard that before. Yeah. And because of the color of our skin, we haven't worried about being pulled over, right? We think the cops are our friends, right? And because we speak English and we live in America, and so the establishment of that is, in my mind, we were born, regardless of the amount of money we had, the number of parents that we had, the wellness that we had in our lives, we were born somewhere between second and third base. You know, we really were. Women a little bit behind that, and people of color maybe a long way behind that. And the challenges, that doesn't mean you can't overcome them. So my kids also have the same type of feelings, you know, so they both went into nonprofit world when they finished school, and they went out to make a difference. You know, my daughter teaches elementary school to special and gifted kids. And my son was involved in politics, from trying to make a change in the way things are done, to both liberal and conservative members of the House and Senate.
How'd that work out for him, by the way?
It's a challenge, right? So all of those people who are assholes on TV are actually pretty nice and reasonable when you get with them. There are 2 or 3 or 4% of them that are exceptions. That means there's 25 people in the House that are exceptions, and there's 5 or 6 senators who don't want to listen. But my job in life is to figure out, as every person who's in relationship management, which that's what salespeople do, that's what teachers do, that's what broadcasters do, and that's what rabbis and priests and everybody else does, is to sit there and find the thing that you have in common, amplify that, and try to have enough of a relationship to where they'll listen to you. Not to you're not going to change their mind in a debate, but to get to the point where they'll listen to you, and then eventually where they're calling you for your opinion before they make their final decision. And
that's a good point. And you know, and Adam, I know your mom recently passed away, and I just saw the pictures of her. She was so, and I wrote on it all the time. She looked like almost like a Grace Kelly. She was beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
she was a very special person, and she was raised by a single mother who was a very special person. So that we have a really long, hard strain of really strong women. My grandmother had 7 sisters who were all fabulous. And when I say fabulous, they look like my mom, and they're all dressed, you know, regardless of what they had.
I mean, his mother was like Hollywood. like from the 30, 40s. Like she was, I didn't know her, but I just saw the pictures that you and your wife had put up. And oh my God, like she was just stunning. And just so to have the life she had, the hard life of raising your family, and to continue to look like a movie star, unbelievable.
So when you walk down the street and see somebody sitting on the side of the street, at some point in life, your mind says it's a bum. And some point in life, your mind says it's an addict. And by the way, we're all addicts. It's just whether we have good habits or bad habits. And I think you guys already covered that, right? So working for Scott and his girls is addictive. The rewards of working and winning is addictive. Not working is something I said today is very addictive as well. And when you're not working and you're not forced to get dressed in the morning and have a purpose and go out and do something that serves other people, then your mind says, well, I want to feel good. So how do I feel good about my lousy place? I go get high, right? So, or whatever it may be. And that's how I think people get really attracted to addiction. So Scott's addicted at 6 o'clock in the morning to be in the gym. That's a good thing. Okay. And hopefully everybody finds something that they're really good at and get addicted to that. My addiction is trying to help people maximize their performance.
And you do a good job, I might add. For those of you that are just tuning in, if I know you're my Facebook friend, most likely, Adam bought his general manager a Bentley. He wanted one. You're the one that posted it, Adam Aaron. I am not telling secrets. And
it's not a secret. But it took him 16 years to get it. Just so you know, he deserves it. Amazing. Right? So as you run one business, it's a model that works for some people. And the scariest thing is to go try to run 2 or 3 or 4 when you're not in the building. And Scott can tell you that too. And you know, there's times when you think you made a mistake. And I will tell you, the only mistake you ever make is when you don't stand behind them and let them know that you are going to support them and let them do their job. If you made a mistake, most of the time it's in hiring because you didn't take enough time. So, you know, I'm working with somebody who's watching right now to hire somebody. And I told all the candidates, I'm going to look at resumes in May, and I'm not going to really interview anybody till July. Right? Because I'm really not looking for an unemployed person for the most part, although I would hire somebody who's unemployed, who's got good qualities. But I don't think any of us who are car dealers or any other business, in the real estate business, whatever, I don't think we cut our best people during COVID. So when you had to downsize, people in my organization came up and said, I'll come to work every day. You don't have to pay me. Just make sure that these other people who don't make big money have a place to work and have their dignity. I can live for months, right? So when you pull the team together and you make those plans, anyway, my family operates in the same way. I may not be the best at family because at some point we have to make decisions, and I don't really totally go by democracy. I go by heart, and so does everybody else. But you know, everybody's allowed to make their point. I will say that for sure. That the thing that I said when I started this was, don't look at where somebody's at, try to figure out how they got there. And that means a customer as well. So how did they get to your showroom? And so that will give you all of the clues. What was their experience in buying a car previously? That will give you all the clues. When they're in for service, they know their car needs to get fixed. They're mad at themselves because they didn't take care of their car, or they didn't buy the extended warranty, or whatever it might have been. But it comes out as being angry with you and your service advisor. So anyway, understand how they got there, and you'll really be able to make things better for them in the future and yourself. So I'll shut up.
So I'm going to throw each of you, because I've got such great respect for you, and you're really 4 different people, but amazingly good to the core, every single one of you. So I'm going to throw you a curve, and I'm going to be sure we end this at 59 minutes because I want to be able to upload it to Instagram and YouTube, and it won't let me if we go over that. And I don't know how to edit video. So if tomorrow you were approached to run for the president of the United States of America, how would you fix this mess? Scott Simons, you're up, babe.
Well, first of all, I would unify our country. It's sad to see a country that I love so much in the situation we're in right now. And I'll never criticize. You'll never see, check my track record. I've never criticized a president because he's an elected official and he was elected by the people. I don't agree with some of the things that's going on, and I would handle them differently. But it's also easy for me to say, sitting in my house, not going through what they're going through. So I don't want to be a hypocrite, but I would bring this country together. I would sit down. I grew up in McDowell County, West Virginia. At the time I grew up, there was segregation. I was 30 minutes from the KKK capital of the world, and I was 30 minutes from an area that was all blacks. And they put two schools together, not those two, but two in between. And they, at 7th grade, I had blacks and whites together, and that wasn't really the case before. So, you know, I just hate to see our country divided, and I would unify our country. Is the first thing I would do immediately.
Okay, so I'm really watching the clock, but I want to ask you, Scott, how would you unify the country? Because I want to unify that, but in my wildest dreams, whether if I was sitting in that White House, I don't know how I could do it because we're so darn divided. Oh, Adam's dying here. He just wants to say something so bad, Adam Aarons. Oh, which is why I saved you for last, friend.
Save Aaron.
How would you do? Like, how do we unify? Again, you're on the podium and you got 1 minute and you're running for president. How would you do it? How are you going to unify? Well, I am that annoying press person in the media, and Kaylee's not in front of you. My press secretary, who I'm in love with. I like her way more than the president right now, but I love her. So I'm hammering you. Okay, great. One love. How are we going to do that?
Yeah.
Boom.
I would sit down with the governors that were elected for each state, and I would have an open conversation with them. I would not allow the media to come in. I would not allow political agenda set aside. It would probably get heated, and I would say, hey, how are we going to fix this? But both sides, the middle is fine. Both the extremists on both sides are wrong. Both the extremists on the right and both the extremists on the left. And the problem is when you go and see all the destruction that is happening, that's not going to fix anything. I also believe that completely getting rid of the police, which I support the police. I support the military. I don't hate anybody. I don't see color. I mean, I know it's hard for people probably to believe. I'm not colorblind. I just don't see color. And I would sit down and I would have the hard conversation. How are we going to fix this? And that's how it happened. And avoiding the issue is not going to fix it. Destroying things are not going to fix it. Allowing some of this anarchy to happen absolutely is unacceptable. And unfortunately, if you see who's really destroying a lot of this country, it's not black people. It's anarchists. So I mean, most definitely this country needs to come together, and I'm extremely concerned as a proud American of where we are. And I'll never say I'm never proud to be an American, because I don't take my freedom lightly. I'm very proud. I had an uncle die in Vietnam I was named after. So when people attack the military and say something bad about the military, attack the flag that he died for, I get pissed off.
I don't blame you. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to kind of wrap with this question tonight, because it's 4th of July weekend and it just feels like everything's upside down. Aaron Sheeks, you are young, you are ambitious, and you served our great country for 8 to 10 years, 8 years?
I did 11.
You did 11. Okay.
I did 11.
You did 11.
I am with Scott in that no great things happen when people are split. It just doesn't happen. And I've been fortunate enough to be around the world a few times and to see other countries and how those people live and how those people interact and their own political structures and systems that they try to piece together to call this thing life. And nothing great happens in any of those countries when they don't work together. It doesn't matter where and at in the world, first world country, third world country, if they don't work together, nothing happens. So I come from a little bit of a different angle in that I am USA America to the core. And like, period, that's just who I am. I fought for it. I lived way too long in combat zones to not wear it overtly on my chest, because that's who I am. But I also think that there's a lot of improvements and a lot of things that we need to do as a culture and as a country to maybe just to be more accepting of others. I think Adam Aarons might be the most eloquent man when speaking about diversity and coming together as human beings. So I won't pretend to speak in a way that he does, but sometimes just being patient and being understanding and being quiet gets a whole lot done. And so for me, it's never a color thing. We all put on the same uniform, and we all got up in Iraq the same time at the same day, and we put on the same nasty flight suit that smelled terrible, and we all went to work the same way. So it doesn't matter to me. But I know the guys that, whether they're white, black, brown, no matter what they were, if you weren't up and ready to go to work and weren't ready to put on that flight suit, then I had an issue, because then things aren't getting done. Then you're putting me at risk. So I don't know that me as president is the answer. I'm young and ambitious and run faster than I think sometimes. But I think you start by bringing all of the people in the middle that maybe are doing more supportive than speaking, and they have to come and kind of bring folks back towards the center. And I don't know the answer, but I know that people are either motivated by great tragedy or by a really great goal. So September 11th, it's a great tragedy. The entire country comes together. We become the most unified maybe in 50 years. I hope it doesn't take a great tragedy to get us back in line and to get us putting America and our people before our feelings or the other stuff that's going on. So
yeah, and it's fair, and that's why I wanted to bring you guys together, because it's going to be interesting. And then Adam Marburger, I'm going to get to you in a second, but it's going to be interesting to see the different perspectives, and that's what I wanted people to see, because you've got someone who's young, ambitious, but did fight for their country in a combat zone. You've got business owners here, and and I just think about when people talk to me about protesting, I said, well, let me just tell you something. If women would not have protested 90 or 100 years ago, the suffragettes, and they were women like me, me and my friends would have been on the front line. They were beaten, they were jailed, and then they were raped in jail. But women would still be chattel today if it wasn't for the great suffragettes getting women fighting for women. And it was white women, black women, like everyone came together and said, we've had enough. So I do believe that is our American right. So I just want to say that. Adam Marburger, you are running for president of the great state, or the great country of, I was about to say the great country of Texas. I think it's going to happen in my lifetime, y'all. I won't lie. I think it's going to happen. But anyways, you're running for president.
I would run fast away from being president. Is what I would do.
So Adam Marburger, you are running for president. What are you going to do?
So here, first, I absolutely despise talking politics. So I'm so glad you threw this at me.
Yes.
Scott, what you said.
It isn't about politics. Okay.
Here.
You are the independent party, because they both suck, but you've just decided, I'm throwing my name in the hat.
Yeah.
This is BS. I've got daughters. I need to fix it. What are you going to do?
So here, first thing, I'm going to figure out a way to eliminate career politicians. So I live in Illinois.
Thank you. Immediately.
I live in Illinois. Have you ever heard of Cook County? So I live in a state where there's no voice. It's controlled by Cook County. I don't know if you know who J.B. Pritzker is. And I'm not going to I hate the right and I hate the left. I don't like the far right or the far left. I don't want to pick a side. I'm an American. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. So I can't stand, like Scott, the far right and the far left drive me crazy. I can't even turn on the TV. I can't watch it. It drives me crazy. I would do whatever it takes to eliminate the career politician. See, I think people start off as maybe an alderman because they want to do good in their community. Maybe they're elected mayor and they're doing good in their community and they make change. But then Mike Madigan shows up and gives you a check, and now you're in the deal and you're doing things not for the people. We're doing it for the money. I would find a way to identify and isolate those instances and get rid of the career politicians that are doing nothing. You've got people that have been in for 50 years doing nothing.
They're coming out of pushed in their wheelchairs with oxygen.
I'm out. So in here, we talk about unification. I would speak positive messages to our youth. I'd put together a campaign and put together a program. We can go around speaking to our youth, speaking positive, get our youth thinking the right direction. I think it starts with our younger generations, because here it's hard to change somebody's mindset. I'm not saying 50 or 60 is old, but it's hard to change your mindset.
You better not, or you're going to talk about the camera.
Like here, my daughter is going to blow me up until I answer. So point is,
do you need to talk to your daughter and then I'll come back to you?
No. We'll speak to our younger generation, speak positivity into them, speak the truth, and find a way to eliminate the career politicians that are absolutely doing nothing but pointing fingers and causing chaos. That's what I would do.
Yep. Pointing fingers, causing chaos, and taking checks. And then before I get to Adam Aaron, because he is really the one of all of us that probably could run for president, except for his side business might keep him out of that deal.
I'll win on that deal, Adam.
Lisa, be sure to tell Adam he's only got 14 minutes. So.
I know. And I have to tell this story about politicians being one thing in public and whatever. So I was campaign chair for U.S. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison when she ran for the Republican nod for governor of Texas. And so I used to have to go to the Russell Senate building to see her because I would have to go to D.C. I'd have meetings with her, come back to Texas, and I'd work on this stuff. Anyways, that being said, she had adopted some children. And guess who threw her a baby shower when she adopted these kids? Hillary Clinton. Now, they were polar. I hated each other on the floor. They were very dear friends in life. So I agree. That is, when you have a job to do, you do your job. But that a lot of times you're a lot different person when you walk out of the Russell Senate building. Okay, Adam Aarons. We're going to be at 46 minutes. And God help us all, you're running for president. No, I'm just kidding. I'd actually do that deal. The only thing that'll keep you out is maybe your side business. But anyway.
That's good for people. It helps people. So I will say that I do.
I love you, Adam Aarons. You're one of my favorite humans on planet Earth.
I think many of you know that I do have a passion for trying to make a change in Washington and in the state houses where they are. But I would tell you that, first of all, I would be running for one term. I would not run for re-election. I would serve all of the people who voted for me and the people who voted against me. And I would not serve either of the parties under any set of circumstances because those parties are what's happened to this country. Those parties and the media together have divided us because that's what sells. That's what gets you to watch things on TV. So my message of working for everybody is not a message that fits either of their agendas at this point.
They have a 24-hour news cycle they've got to fill.
Yeah, and I think that's gotten a lot shorter as well, right? Even shorter than the 24 hours, so where it's disaster after disaster, snippet after snippet, and I will say that we have to get money out of politics because I only want people who want to serve. I don't want people who somehow went to Washington with a bank account of 100,000 and left with 100 million. And that's real shit, right? So yes, that's part of the term limit things, but yeah, you should be there once and go back to your business. We are electing senators to 6-year terms at 85 years old.
It's crazy.
It is, right? And so I think that we have to serve and figure out why people got where they got to understand that there are no bad people. There are people that do bad things. And to stop that I left the Republican Party with any passion for that party a long time ago when the Tea Party took over. And if I was a Democrat, I would have left that party when the Bernies took over. Neither of them mean bad things, but they come from a place that doesn't allow us to evolve to where we need to get to. So the other thing I would say is I don't know everything about everything, and some things I know nothing about. So I will make sure we find the right people in the room from both sides of that table. And at the end of it, my bumper sticker says compromise, because that's what we need to do. We have to stop trying to get our way. That's supposed to stop when you get to kindergarten, when you learn to share. And as you get older, I think people have the right to choose a lot of things, but they don't have the right to choose to harm somebody else in any way, shape, or form. And we need to get people addicted to work. We need to change our education system, and we need to change our service system. And the one reason I can't be president, as far as I'm concerned, is because, like the last 6 presidents, I haven't served this country in the military. Therefore, I'm not qualified to be the commander-in-chief. So don't vote for me.
Don't vote for me. Well, there you go. And again, we got like 9 minutes. But you said something really interesting. How the president is the commander in chief, and when you've had 6 presidents on both sides of the aisle that have not served in the military. Aaron Sheiks, I'm going to ask you, and not to be political, how did you feel as a serviceman? Because I think that you probably were called up by who do you been called up by, Bush and Clinton? Am I right?
President Obama.
Oh, okay. So Obama and W, right?
Yep.
Okay. And again, taking the politics out of it, how did you feel knowing that either one of those commanders in chief had never done what you did, but now all of a sudden you're going to war? Have you ever thought about that? I mean, only because Adam said something interesting about it.
I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people that lace them up every day probably think about it. And I think it depends on what you do in the military. Not all military jobs are created equal. So, you know, if you're a boots on the ground guy, you probably want a boots on the ground guy to move around pieces and do strategy. I actually don't, it's not a deal breaker for me if you've served or not. It's a deal breaker to me if you don't want to serve in that role. That's the deal breaker for me. So whether you know what to do with foreign policy or where the next strike group should be or where the aircraft carrier should live, I don't feel like that's important. We have really smart people that spend their entire lives doing that. You can find people to give you that. The things that I cared about was, are you going to take care of us at the end of the year so we can get a cost of living adjustment? Am I going to have enough money at the end of my 2 weeks when I'm an E4 making $600 every 2 weeks to like actually be able to like take a girl on a date? Like I cared about those types of things. Like, how long do I have to live in this room with 3 other dudes? Like those were the things that were important to me. Was I know I love my country. I know I love my job. I know I love these people, but I'd really like to know that the guy sitting at the top was interested in taking care of us as a country and our security, but also taking care of me and thinking about the everyday life I have to live to lace them up every day. And I don't think you have to serve, Adam, to be able to make that decision. There's lots of 5-star, 4-star generals that are really smart military dudes.
That are actually at the table. At least all the presidential shows I watch, you know, and the movies, those are the guys sitting at the table, that, you know, the 100-year-old generals, and they're the ones deciding to blow the, you know, hit the box or whatever.
I know there's great leaders in the military, without a doubt. I was just trained by them. They're phenomenal, but I think there's really great leaders outside of it. And I don't think you have to have put on a hat with a big emblem to be able to sit in the chair.
Okay. See, so sometimes, you know, that younger generation. So guys, I want to thank you so much for coming on. And, you know, just in full disclosure, none of these guys knew why I brought them on, but I just was really thinking about that. I thought, I'm going to, you know, every one of these guys has a common thread with me, that they're my very dear friends, but they're at different points in their lives. And everyone knows how much, you know, I am about empowering women. And so many times guys get a bad rap, like, oh, it's because the men that are holding us back and whatever. And, you know, I'm just going to leave with this. My dear friend of 17 years, and she's the co-pastor of my church, she wrote a book called Woman Up. And Adam Aarons knows this very well, but there's, in the Old Testament, there's Deborah. And Deborah was a judge. And God would, when God needed something done, he would call Deborah. And so I would say to all my women friends out here, you know, there's so many times that we don't rely on our allies, men like these wonderful people that are my dear friends, and that's why they're my friends, but that we were put on planet Earth by the good Lord himself and anointed to take leadership roles. And sometimes we just don't take them because we feel that we shouldn't, or we feel like we were repressed or whatever. And so I want to challenge everybody out there to find friends like I've got in these 4 men. And Dan Moore was supposed to be here, another girl dad who's just love him dearly, and Frank Lopes, and just life got in the way tonight for them. But they're wonderful, wonderful people. And, you know, I think that's part of coming together, even in the world, is that our daughters can see that, you know, that we need the men in our world. We need the men as our friends. We need the men as our allies, and that there are really great men out there that support women. And so, again, it was just a total curveball. I just might have had a couple glasses of Prosecco when I thought this show up. Won't, you know, but I think it was an important conversation. So I appreciate every one of you for everything that you do. And Adam Aarons wants to say something before we sign off.
Well, I want to talk to real briefly some of the other car people that are out there. I know that this sounds corny, but whatever you do, do it intentionally. Hire women intentionally. It'll make the way you operate your business. Hire minorities intentionally. You'll rip out some of the racism in the company, or the jokes that aren't appreciated. You know, somebody says, well, I can't find women that want to work 70 hours a week. Well, I don't know how you find men that want to work 70 hours a week, right? So as you change your mission for the future, and there's a time when people can do that, but if that's their value in life is working 70 hours a week, then they're probably not the most balanced and really good person to begin with. So do it intentionally, create a place that people who you like would want to work and have a career. And it doesn't mean giving them, doesn't mean overpaying them. It means giving them benefits, respecting their time, giving them a schedule that allows them to function in their life in the way that they want to. And it doesn't mean doing things radically different. It means doing things intentionally. So I hope you guys can help me get to my goal of a 4-day work week for all of our associates by this time next year and hold me accountable for it.
I love it. I mean, what else is there to say, right? Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for being great friends and great leaders and just great humans. And I know we'll talk again soon. So everybody, peace out. Thank you, everybody who got on the show tonight. If you found this show valuable, you liked it, you liked the message, share it out. Share it out. Everybody should know every one of these men that are on here because they are truly the good guys of the world and in business. So bye, everybody.
Love you all.
See you guys.
See ya.
Have a great night.